Hey, welcome back, guys. Monday, April 26th, Monday morning briefing, episode 30, I believe. Is this 30? 29, 30, somewhere around there. Real quick, I wanted to thank Dakota and Cody. They are a couple visitors that came by last week, and we got to visit and kind of get to know them and stuff. Really enjoyed the visit. He's currently in the military, and they kind of move around a lot, and he does leather work and everything. So we just wanted to stop by and see the shop. They were kind of on a little vacation weekend and stuff, and so they stopped by here since we were kind of on the way to where they were headed. So yeah, we had a really good visit with them. They came by and hung out and got to kind of learn a little bit about them and what they do in their shop and stuff. We really enjoyed the visit. So thank you, Cody and Dakota, for coming by. It was a lot of fun. Stop back by next time you're through. If you are ever in the area, just come by the shop. We're usually here Monday through Friday. 9 to 5 usually is a good kind of reference there as far as when we're in the shop, outside of us running some errands or something like that. In fact, today I might have to take off sometime this afternoon, maybe around lunchtime, maybe gone for two hours or so. I've got to go get some glue. We're out of glue. A lot of people asking about my glue, saying, kind of what's the best glue, what glue do you use? I just use the Weldwood contact cement. It's just what you can buy at Lowe's, Home Depot. I'd show you a can, but I actually just took trash out because today's pickup day, so I actually took all that out today. My empty can was in there. So I am actually out. The only glue I have is what's in my glass jar and what's in the nasty glue pot over there. I don't want to wait until I'm gluing up skirts or something like that and find out that I'm out. So we'll probably go do that today. But that's the glue I use. It comes in a big paint can, like a gallon paint can, I guess. And it's just Weldwood contact cement. You can buy it at Lowe's or Home Depot. Walmart used to sell it, but I think the last time I was in a Walmart in the paint section, they just had the small can, which that's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need to buy that huge can. But that's the glue that I use. I'm sure we've mentioned it on some other videos, but just to kind of clear that up here, and just so you know, since we have been getting a bunch of questions here lately about the kind of glue I use. Now, if you prefer to use Barges or Masters or something else, or the stuff Aaron sells a glue that's really, really good. I need it in bigger quantities than just a quart jar. But that glue that he has is really good. I don't have any issues with that either. So keep using that if you like that. The stuff I get, the DAP contact cement or Weldwood contact cement, it is really thin. And it does, I don't know, in a way I think it gets kind of gummy a little bit faster at times, but I think that's more a weather or environmental deal than it is anything else. If it's really cold in your shop, it's probably gonna gum up a little bit worse. But I just use acetone to thin it down. So I just buy a gallon jug of acetone. I keep that in the shop, and that's our thinner that will thin that glue down with if it gets a little thick, and that usually works out great. Before we get started, I did want to make a quick update on our patterns. If y'all are new to the channel or new to what we're doing and the website and stuff like that, all of the patterns, if you buy any, as of right now, if you buy any patterns from us at all, pattern packs for building the projects that are in the project videos, they are instant downloads. So once you pay for that pattern, you should get an email that'll look like a receipt. On that receipt, there'll be another column there that it says download, and you click those blue links and you'll download whatever patterns that you bought. They'll download to your computer, and then you can print them off on your own printer. When you print those, be sure and print them actual size. Depending on your printer settings, you want to pick something that sounds or seems like actual size. We are updating. I'm trying to go back through some of the older patterns. It's kind of cumbersome to go back through the older stuff, and because I've got to take the actual original PDF file and kind of alter it and then reload that. But we're working through them. It's not that big of a deal. But I'm trying to go back in and add the actual measurements on the pieces, at least a few of them, so that when you print it, you can check it with a ruler or straight edge or tape measure or something to make sure that it's printing the right size. Because a printer, I don't know why, and I've talked to some graphic designers that just some people that deal in that kind of work, and from what I've been told, there's really no way to control that. You can't like lock it down where it only prints in one setting, because that's up to the person printing them on their printer settings. I know if you're not real tech savvy or not really into that or whatever, and you just want the patterns, it's a lot to kind of fiddle with to try to get the patterns printed. But it's the quickest and easiest way for us to get them to you. And if you print them actual size, they should come out the right size. On a pattern pack like, say, the shave kit or the wristlet purse, something like that, if it does scale it down, which a lot of times a printer will try to do, it'll do a fit to page or a scale to fit. You don't want to do either one of those options because it's gonna actually shrink all of the patterns down a little bit to fit them on that page. They already fit on a page because I create them on 8.5 by 11 sheets. But if you're printing those patterns and they scale down a little bit, you probably won't ever notice because they're not made to fit a particular thing. Where we've had some issue in the past is with the moleskin journal. The moleskin journal project video that we did, that pattern pack, we're about to update that with some measurements on there because we get a lot of emails about, hey, what size is this supposed to print? Because I bought the moleskin that's that's linked in the video or in the blog for that video, and I bought that off Amazon, and this thing does not look like it's going to fit if I cut it out this size. That's because the printer has scaled it down, so we don't want to let it do that. Like I said, on the shave kit or wristlet purse, it doesn't matter. It's going to scale everything the same, so all the parts will fit. Your particular purse, if it does do that, may be a 1/4 inch smaller than mine. It just depends on how much it scales it down. But like things like a checkbook cover or the moleskin journal or the clutch wallet, something like that, you don't want it to scale, because if it scales too much, then the checkbook won't fit, or the book that you're making it for won't fit, or something like that. So my advice is, when you print those, be sure and print them actual size or a similar setting depending on the printer that you have, so that you're sure to get the actual size pattern that I'm making. Most people are used to this now because we've been doing digital patterns for a good 4 or 5 years now, and so a lot of people are used to it. But if you're new to what we're doing and you're new to the channel, just understand that, 1, print those pattern packs out actual size. 2, be sure and understand that our patterns are instant download. So the minute you buy them or you check out on our website, you have access to the patterns that you bought. Now, if you had other things in the cart, like a material pack where we're actually sending you physical leather, if you bought a cap or a t-shirt or any of those kind of things, or one of our leather products, those things we actually have to package and ship. So they won't go out till the next day. We try to get all orders out within 24 hours if at all possible. But the patterns, whatever patterns you bought in that order, you have instant access to them. You should receive an email that looks like a receipt, and like I said, there'll be a column that says download. You click that link, it'll download it wherever you want it on your hard drive, and then you can print them out. If you miss that email, sometimes it goes to spam for people. I don't know why. That's something in your email settings. It ends up there, but don't worry about that. You can always, once you check out, just go onto our website under Leather Worker Resources, and you can hover over that. The first option underneath that is My Store Account. You click My Store Account, and then you can log in using your username and password, because it'll ask you to set up a password when you check out. And if you log back in, any pattern you ever buy from us will be stored in your store account on our website. We don't store any kind of payment details or data, anything like that, but it does store all of your purchases. So all of your orders that you've made with us will all be stored there, and all the patterns will actually be archived in there for you as well, anything you've bought. So you can, at any point in time, if a year or two from now you lose your hard copy of a pattern you've already bought from us, and you can't find it, or the dog ate it, or whatever happened, and you need to reprint it, you can always hop on our website, go to your store account, and re-download that PDF file again and reprint it. So you have access to that right after checkout. You can get your patterns. And I bring that up because we've had a few people that occasionally, it doesn't happen very often anymore just because we've been doing this for so long. Most people understand what an instant download is and how to get their patterns, but we do occasionally get somebody that just didn't realize that was the case. Even though we've got it in bold print, we try to really make it obvious that we're not mailing these patterns out to you. But sometimes people will do that, and then they're like, man, I still haven't got my patterns in the mail or whatever, and then I tell them, hey, you had access from the start. And then they're like, oh my God, I've been for 2 weeks waiting on these patterns and I had access to them that day. But no big deal. I just wanted to clear that up. Be sure to mention that in the Monday video for anybody that may be currently waiting on something pattern-wise. You got it. You've already got it. Go to our website, get it downloaded, cut it out, or print it out, cut it out, and get to making that project because you've got the patterns right there. And if you have any issues with our patterns or any questions, be sure and shoot us an email. We do our best to try to keep on. Claudia's beginning to help me a lot with the email. And so I'm starting to kind of route a lot of the emails through her just because she has more time than I do between what we're trying to keep products flowing through the shop as far as our custom orders, as well as do videos for you guys and stuff. It's just becoming a lot for me to spend 2 or 3 hours in the evening on email. And so if we haven't gotten back to you or you need something, hit me again with that email and remind me, because I do tend to kind of skip over things, but nature of the beast, I'm just trying to keep up with everything. A quick update too on the leather shipment. Like I said, it was supposed to be, I was hoping it was going to be here last week. It didn't go out like it was supposed to, so it's going out Friday, or it went out Friday supposedly. I haven't actually gotten a call to check to make sure that it went out Friday, but I'm hoping that it did. My fingers are crossed. We really need to get that shipment in here because we're getting a lot of people. I've got a list of folks that have already ordered some belt blanks and stuff like that. So that'll be the first item that we cut out of those will be the belt material packs. And we will be sure to notify everyone that they're on the website once we get them all cut. I will fill the orders that I have written down already. I'll fill those orders first, and then we'll put something online. I'll probably send it out in the newsletter first and give those folks time to get theirs and be sure and get what they need before we do something on social media. We did the same thing last week, and so if you're on the newsletter, you got that. And hopefully we're able to partake in that and get the supplies that you needed, the items that you wanted. As far as last week was busy. We knew it was going to be. We got some of the repair saddles. We got one of them washed. We got the other one finished, the one I was putting the riggings in. That took up quite a bit of time last week, but I was able to get it knocked out, get it back to the gentleman that owns it. He was really happy with it. The riggings went in really good. Unfortunately, I forgot to grab a picture, but just believe me or don't believe me, but I fixed it. It's fixed. So, but he got his saddle back. He came back Saturday. He was here in Gonzales for a cutting Saturday, and so he come by the shop and picked up his saddle. So it worked out great because they're from where we came from, up around Bryan, and so north of there a little ways. But anyway, he was able to get that. We got a little bit of work done on the custom saddles and got those moving forward. And I also got some stuff done on the bag that we're making. So now the fun will begin of the assembly and putting this thing together and shooting the video for that. So we did post a video of me tooling this piece. This is the flat piece. You'll see as we get to building this thing how this thing comes together, and we'll give you little updates too on the Monday video. Unless I finish it this week, the next week you'll just see it finished. But this is the overlap piece that comes over on the flap for the front, and we're going to do a neat little closure here with a leather loop and a piece of a deer antler. It's going to be kind of a neat way to close this bag. But we got this tooled. I did a video on it, just kind of almost like a vlog style, kind of like we used to do the scrap leather video vlogs. My friend Patrick had mentioned that he wishes I'd start doing those again. He really enjoyed those. So I thought, man, why not? I've got all this footage on the tooling, and I never put much of the tooling in the project videos because it just makes them too long. So we just put a little bit in there just to kind of show you a little bit of the tooling, and then we get to building the project. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do one video dedicated to drawing and carving and tooling this piece here. And so we did that. That video's been doing really well. Everybody seemed to really like it. Just for reference, obviously when you watch that video, you can see that I'm tooling super fast. Obviously, that's sped up. That's not how fast I tool. We did that for time's sake, so the video wasn't, I don't know, 3 hours long. Just in case you're curious out there as far as how fast I did speed that video up, that video is sped up 1,000%. So from normal time, we just speed it up 1,000%, and that gives us kind of that speed tooling there that you saw in the video. But we're really happy with that video. It seemed like everybody really liked it. It actually did better than some of our Monday videos do in the first 48 hours or however that one of those metrics is. So that was cool. We may do more of those in the future. It's just kind of a good accessory video to when this project video comes out. You know, you won't get to see a whole lot of the tooling, but if you want to see more of the actual tooling that happened, then this video will already be out there, so you can check that out. But yeah, this bag is going to go together really well. I'm happy to have these done. I think I'm going to just dye these brands like a dark brown, and then we're going to do a honey finish light oil antique. I was originally going to do a two-tone on this, but this leather is more of a chestnut color that we got from Aaron. This is the Expedition, or the little firmer 1880 waterproof leather from Herman Oak Leather, and that's what we're using to build this bag. And so I'm super excited to get this thing going as far as assembly and see how this thing finishes out. So now that the tooling's done, we can do that. And like I said, we are doing a video on this. It'll be like the rope bag project video. I'll show you every step, how we made it. I'll try to do measurements and things like that so that you can kind of follow along and try to make one of these however you want to, but there will not be a pattern as of right now. I got one cool little fun project that we're going to work on probably this week. I'm going to go ahead and try to make a pattern for this and figure it out. But this cup belongs to a man here in town named Nacho, and he does he has a restaurant here and has some different businesses and things like that. And he had this cup that his mom brought him back from Mexico, and it's a really neat little wooden cup, and he's going to actually start selling these, but he wants this one personalized for him, and so we're going to put his business logos on this thing and put a piece of leather on there and stuff. So I just thought it was kind of neat. It's kind of wacky. It's a cool cup if you're at a get together or whatever, but apparently he will be selling those at some point here locally. So if you're ever molten and you see this cup and you say, I got to have one of these cups, then I'm sure you can probably go by his store once he gets it opened and buy one very similar to this. But that's going to be kind of a fun project. It's just kind of something different that we got to kind of, anytime you make a pattern for something like this, where we're just going to glue a piece of leather on that will be tooled, obviously, you're up against a couple little things with something like this. One, the contact cement will glue to this wood really, really well. And so you don't have really any issues with that. You can use just straight contact cement anytime you're going to glue leather to wood. Preparation is key. If it's got a finish, like this has a, I'm assuming lacquer-based finish or something, then you want to scratch that up where it's going to go. You want to scratch it up a little bit with some fine sandpaper, medium grit sandpaper, just to kind of rough up that finish so the glue will really stick good. But on this particular cup, if you notice, it's kind of convexed here, and it's also convexed around the middle. So you've got a couple little things going on there to where if you just cut out a square of leather, it's not going to lay flat on there. So you've got to cut it out almost in a cross shape, or is what I'm going to do, cross shape or like a T shape, to where, it's got some scallop to it. It's not going to be an actual, a real refined T, but it'll have that kind of shape just to take out the gap that you're going to get up here because of the way it's shaped. And these kind of little projects like this, if you run across something, somebody comes to you with something kind of wacky like this and says, hey, can you give it a shot, especially if you're new to leatherwork, because it's going to teach you a little bit about, getting out of the box, so to speak, to where you're not just working flat work or, just everything square angles and stuff like that. You're dealing with a 3D object and trying to pattern up a way to attach that to it. And any kind of opportunity you can get for that, get to do that is a good deal, because it'll teach you more going down the road if you come across something, especially in the saddle deal, because your swells, your cannels, a lot of those things, all of those things, none of them are square. None of they're theoretically square, but they're not a square surface. It's a 3D surface that you're having to cover. And so kind of having a little experience on some wacky jobs like this can really help you down the road when you're working on other jobs, and you'll kind of have those skills already. So if you're following me on Instagram and you follow our stories or whatever, you may see that yesterday I kind of put a little teaser out there that we have a new course that we're starting. And it's right now, we are just beginning to work on this course. So I don't know exactly when it'll post, but I did want to mention it to you. I debated about even saying anything on it on the Monday video, but I need to, just because I want the accountability, for one, because I really think this is going to be a good course. I don't know why I didn't think of this course before, probably because of the move and just being busy in the shop and everything else. I just haven't been focused on what the next course will be for the DG Leathercraft Academy on our website. And now we have one. It kind of came to me. I was just kind of thinking about it, and it was like, this is the obvious course that we're going to do right after the drawing course, which is the only course that we offer through the Academy right now. And this one was going to be an in-depth, full-scale tooling course. And so in that course, we're going to take... So now if you've gone through the drawing course, you're learning about the frameworks, the transitions. You're learning about all those things to construct a floral pattern. And it just makes sense to me that the next one, as we grow the academy, the next one, we need a good foundational course on actual tooling and how to use the tools, case your leather, material, what material you want to use, all the different stamps, all the things to do a floral pattern. And so that's what that course is going to be. I think it's going to be pretty large. I've got the outline drawn out. I mean, it went together really quick because it's basically just my tooling process and diving more in depth into explaining more of that stuff. And so I think it's going to be a large course. I don't know yet till we start shooting all the footage and editing it and getting it all together and all the coursework materials and all the things. But I think it's going to be a pretty good sized course. It's probably going to be more expensive than the other course just because of the amount of time that we're going to put into it, but we'll just see how everything works out. But I think it's going to be really helpful if you're really wanting to refine your tooling and get a little bit more information on the different tools and their proper use and material and casing and stamping and different ways of handling some of these tools in different ways in order to accomplish a different look about your floral patterns. Because that's the thing, you can take the same pattern and give it to 3 different stampers or toolers and they're all three going to look different because everybody uses the tools differently. And so I think this course is going to be very useful. Like I said, we're starting to work on that this week. I'm hoping to get kind of the outline more refined, because I'm sure I got a lot of stuff in there that we can kind of shorten up and combine, because I don't want it to be a time waster. I don't want you to spend 30 hours in this course and not get anything from it. So we want to be sure that we're clear, concise, and as relaying the information as quickly as possible within the course. The last course that we did, the Introduction to Floral Leather Design, Floral Pattern Design, that course has done really, really well in the 2 or 3 years that we've put it out there. People are still actively going through that course. Some people are going back through it again. Once you buy one of our courses in our academy, they're a premium course, but you have access to that course for going forward continually. So you can go through the course, you can bounce around in the course, you can take it, whatever sections you want to take, you can come back and forth and do it on your own time. And so I think that's really helpful. A lot of the folks that come by here to visit, that's usually the most questions we get, is how do I get my beveling to look smoother? How do I properly use lifters? How do I use crowners? What pear shader do you like to use? Do you like a smooth, a vertical line, a horizontal line? All those questions. We get a lot of questions on tooling, which is understandable. A lot of people that get into leather work, they do want to do floral tooling. And I just feel that that's a need that we can go ahead and address now. We should address it and go ahead and create a course, and that way we have it, and that part's done. Going forward with the Academy, one thing that I'd like to do in the future is to do more in-depth project video courses where they're a lot more involved, a lot more complicated patterns, a lot more complicated projects, and that may not suit a YouTube video of an hour and a half long, which is a long video on YouTube. Maybe that project doesn't suit that platform or that setting really well. So maybe that project needs to be its own course. And so that's kind of where my mind's at with the Academy, and why we started the Academy is for those reasons, because there's a lot of projects like a saddle. Obviously, that would make an outstanding online course, is to have a complete saddle online course. That's not something that we won't do. It's just something that we're not going to do anytime soon, at least within the next year. That would be a very, very in-depth course. And also, as we're doing these courses, we're learning what works and kind of how best to present the material within that course and that platform, so that it's easy for you to understand, easy for you to use. We've had really good feedback on the course. A lot of people have taken it. A lot of people have really enjoyed it and seem to get a lot out of it. So we're going to try to expand on that and do this course as good or better than the drawing course. But like I said, this one, we're just starting it. We'll kind of keep you updated as we're going along, kind of how it's going. I don't have a set date. I have a date in my head where I'd like it to go ahead and launch for you guys, but I don't want to announce that, and just because a lot can change between now and then, shop-wise and work-wise, and so I just don't want to overpromise. So we're going to get started working on it hopefully this week. Like I said, I think it's something we can work into our schedule throughout the week and just start doing it section by section and getting it done. So a complete tooling, stamping, floral carving, whatever you want to call it, course is coming in the near future. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be good. And then we'll have one on drawing, one on tooling. That should give you a good foundation as far as the art side of leather work. And we'll kind of add and build upon that within the Academy as we go along. But let me get a cup of coffee and I'll show you where we're at on saddles and saddle repair. All right, so here's the saddle that we pulled the seat out of, that we're putting a new binder on, new housings, new fenders and all that stuff. We washed it Friday, and so it's had all weekend to dry. I kind of like doing them that way if you can in your shop, just kind of where you don't have wait time during the week, is to do your washes on Friday, let them sit all weekend while you're out of the shop anyway, and let them dry, and then you can come back on Monday and they're ready to start working on them. Got this saddle all cleaned. I washed the billets and stuff, but I think I'm going to make new ones for it. Just since he's doing all the other work, we might as well go from there. I'm going to add a padded seat to this. Like I said, new binder, new housings, and get it all conditioned. I won't do any, with something like this where I'm going to put a new padded seat in there and some other new deals. We washed it and cleaned it. We're not going to condition and oil it until I get all the repairs done, because I'm going to need to glue my seat foam and my padded seat material to this seat. I don't want to put oil and skid moors on here, because then it won't stick. So we're just going to leave it dry. It's not going to hurt the saddle. Same thing with the binder. We've got to glue that binder on. I don't want a bunch of oil and grease somewhere where I'm needing to glue stuff together. Plus we've got to glue the seat back down. So if you're doing a bunch of extensive repairs on a saddle where you're going to actually be restitching and gluing new pieces on and doing stuff like that, wait to do your cleaning and conditioning, or oiling and conditioning, until after you did all your repairs. And it's not going to hurt this saddle to sit here without any oil in it for a little while we do those repairs. This saddle here is another one, basically just like this one, that's for a really good friend of mine and a real good customer. And he just brought it in to get it cleaned up, tightened up. He's missing a concho. Got he ranches around here and stuff, and it's just been used. It's one of his favorite ones to work out of. So we're gonna go ahead and get it tore apart, wash it up, fix whatever needs to be fixed, and get it tightened up for him. And so our ranch saddle, we got the swell cover on. You may have seen that on our Instagram videos, and I think we might have mentioned it last week. But we also got the skirts put on last week as well. So they're on there. We'll trim a little bit off the back. Maybe we'll my skirts are usually a little bit long, so we might trim a little bit there. But it will be an in-skirt rig. So these have had all weekend to dry as well. So now we can start getting our rig placement down and breast collar D and all that kind of stuff. Get our back rigs laid in there. They're made over there. And then kind of go from there. I wait to put the back rig on until my skirts are on when I'm doing an in-skirt. It just helps me to line it up. It's much easier, and because I usually pull off my front D to line up my back D. And when I'm doing an in-skirt, obviously I don't have a front D. So I go ahead and just put the skirts on, and then we'll come in here and place our flank rig on here, and we can use the skirts to pull from to get it lined and centered. As far as the roper, we have all the riggings over here that have been, they're all glued, and the tree's glued, everything's ready to go. I glue my riggings on and before I screw them down and everything, and that helps me get them all lined up. So they're ready to go. We'll start casing these today and getting these put on and get riggings hung. And then this saddle will be ready to have a front and camelback put on and stuff like that. This saddle is getting some tooling, and so we'll have to start doing that and working out some of the pattern as far as what we're going to be tooling on that. Last week we did have a podcast come out, and so I think it was Saturday morning we went ahead and posted our next episode on Lost Trade, which you can listen to on Apple or Spotify. And this episode we were interviewing Beru Farrell, and she's just a really cool lady. She's a silversmith and an engraver, and she's getting into making bits. So we were really excited to see that. And I knew my wife has a belt buckle that she made her years and years ago. My wife's known her for a long time as well. As far as, knew who she was and kind of visited and ordered that belt buckle and stuff. And I knew she did a lot of jewelry and cuffs and things like that, but I didn't know that she was getting into bits. So that was kind of a surprise to me when we were doing the interview. So I was real excited to hear that. I didn't know I had a future bit maker that was actually on the podcast. I thought it was mainly just silver work and bits. She does a lot of beautiful headstall buckles and headstall hardware and stuff like that. So if you get an opportunity, check out Beru's episode on there. It's a little shorter episode. I think most of ours here lately have been running almost a couple hours long, hour and a half. This one is I think it's right at about an hour. And the only reason is because she had some things she had to get to, some appointments and stuff like that. And so that was the only time we could meet up. We just kind of blocked in an hour and went from there. And I think we could have talked a lot longer, but it was a great interview. We might have her back on here in the future. We've done 2 other interviews that my producer is working on, and so he's getting those edited and made up, and I don't know which one's going to come out next. We're trying to keep everybody shuffled up, so we have another lady that we interviewed as well as a gentleman that we interviewed, and I don't know if he's going to break that up or flip-flop them from the order that we actually interviewed them in or not, but either way, they're both great. I enjoyed both of those interviews. They've all been good. Everybody that we've talked to, of course, it's our podcast, and so I'm kind of reaching out to folks that I've been wanting to talk to anyway, and folks that interest me. And so as we go along, it may be more of a surprise as the producer and maybe my wife bring people up that maybe I don't know about. So I may be going into it kind of blind and not knowing the person all that much. But most of these I've kind of been following anyway, and I'm trying to get all those kind of done. But I've really enjoyed the interviews. They've been a lot of fun. And so I'm not sure which one will come out this week, but keep looking. Be sure and subscribe to our podcast on Apple or Spotify. If you don't fool with Apple, Spotify, anything like that, like we said in the past, you can go to our website. There's a tab at the top that says Lost Trade Podcast. Just click there. You can play it right there on your computer. Just hit the play button on whatever episode you want to listen to, and you can certainly hear it. And be sure to share it. If you know somebody that's another craftsman that looking for something to listen to in their shop or something, shoot them a link to one of our episodes and tell them, hey, check these interviews out, because I think they're really doing well, and I think people are liking them. And if you get a chance, leave us a review on there. But that's really all I've got for you this week. We've got T-ball this week. We've been scheduled for 2 games a week. I think we only have a couple more weeks left of T-ball, and so it's been a blast. It's a lot of fun. The games are only 3 innings because keeping the attention span of a bunch of 5 and 6 year olds is pretty hard anyway. So usually by the 3rd inning they're about done anyway. So, but last week we had one game got rained out. I don't think they do makeup days in T-ball, so we probably just missed that game. But we've got a couple this week, and we were supposed to get a lot of rain on Friday, which we were hoping for because it has already gotten super dry down here, and it's already just really getting dry. They did clean off our hayfield and got a bunch of hay bale just to clean it off for the first cutting. And if we don't get some rain, it's already starting to look kind of brown. So, but Friday we were supposed to get a bunch. We got some, enough to rain out the T-ball game, but I think I may have got 2 tenths at the house. So definitely not enough. So still watering the garden, watching the cracks get larger in that blackland country and in the ground. Hopefully we'll get some rain. But if you have a minute and you think about it, pray for a little rain down our way. Or if you've got too much, send some of it our ways because we can use it. But otherwise, we're going to get back in the shop. I've got lots going on this week. If you're in the area, stop by. We're going to keep hammering on them. We've got to get these saddles moving forward, and I'm excited to get the bag started. So actually, I'm going to go right now and start lining that thing and start putting that together and shooting some video for it. So I'm excited to see this bag come together. So, but we'll see y'all next week in the Monday morning briefing. Y'all have a great week. Thank y'all.